Hey there, Saints. Pastor Dave here with another weekly devotional for you this Wednesday. I'm going to share an excerpt from an introduction to the Devout life today. This is written by Francis de Sales, who was a Catholic priest, was the Bishop of Geneva in the early 1600s, and he writes on the subject of what it means to be devoted to God. He says, in his pictures, Aurelius painted all faces after the manner and appearance of the women he loved. And so too everyone paints devotion according to his own passions and fancies. Someone given to fasting thinks himself very devout if he fasts, although his heart may be filled with hatred. Much concerned with sobriety, he doesn't care to wet his tongue with wine or even water, but won't hesitate to drink deep of his neighbor's blood by detraction and gossip. Another person thinks himself devout because he daily recites a vast number of prayers, but after saying them, he utters the most disagreeable, arrogant, and harmful words at home and among the neighbors. Another gladly takes a coin out of his purse and gives it to the poor, but he cannot extract kindness from his heart to forgive his enemies. Another forgives his enemies, but never pays his creditors, unless compelled to do so by force of law. All these individuals are usually considered to be devout, but they are by no means such. Saul's servants searched for David in his house, but David's wife Michal had put a statue on his bed, covering it with David's clothes, and thus led them to think it was David himself who was lying there sick and sleeping. In the same manner, many persons clothe themselves with certain outward actions connected with holy devotion, and the world believes they're truly devout and spiritual, whereas in fact they are nothing but copies and phantoms of devotion. So, Saints, I think there are a couple of ideas in this excerpt that are really interesting, worth talking about. And the first is hypocrisy. The first is that natural human tendency that we have to put on an act and put on a show, try to convince people we're something we are not. I think the reason we do this is because we really would rather have people believe that we're honest than actually be honest. We'd rather have them believe we're generous than actually be generous. It's that external validation and affirmation that we really crave. It's not the value or the virtue itself. And Jesus points this out often in the Gospels. This is a problem. Hypocrisy is something that doesn't fool God. And we are not going to become the kind of people God wants us to be if we're only interested in showing that virtue, but not having that virtue. That's all I'm going to say about that for right now. But the other idea in this excerpt that I think is very interesting comes to how we show devotion. How do we show our devotion to God? And there are so many ways that that can be done. Francis notes that there are people who are very good at praying. There are people who are very good at sobriety and temperance and self-control. There are people who are very good at forgiveness. There are people who are very good at charity. But none of these things on their own amounts to devotion, true devotion. Francis reminds us that devotion is a more holistic thing. It's about the whole self. It's all of what we offer God. And so if we're, really good at charity, but we're not any good at temperance, well, then we need to work on what we're not good at. And we have this sort of problem where we value and overvalue the things that we're good at. We tend to focus on those things, probably because, again, that gives us the sense that we are doing well. We don't like to look at where we fall short, but it's important that we do that. Don't be distracted by your spiritual strengths from your spiritual weaknesses, but continue to work on those things as well. Saints, I wonder, what are you good at? What are the ways that you tend to show your devotion towards God? And I think this week it would be interesting for each of us to try to find a new way. Find something else that we haven't done or haven't focused on, haven't been good at in the past, and see if we can get better at that. That's your devotional this week. Hope it's helpful and worth thinking about for you. I hope you are doing well and staying healthy. I'll be praying for you, Saints. Hope you'll keep praying for me, and I'll see you all again soon. Take care.